morning, Tuesday the 4th of March, and it's a glorious day. The garden's bursting into life, so let's take a look around. The perennial celery is really doing good, and the garlic is not doing bad. A couple of elephant garlics, but the other two little elephant garlics are, I think, not going to do very good at all. Rhubarb is bursting into life. I've got these hanging basket frames over the top to stop bow walking all over them. Tulips will be out in flower soon. Buds everywhere. Crocuses are still going great guns. The clematis I put in last week has survived the frost and it's coming into flower. Still lots of hyacinths to come out in flower yet, and a little blue one behind. So they just look absolutely gorgeous, don't they? But everything's coming into flower. All the bulbs, the spring bulbs, and everything else is budding up beautifully. The clematis here is doing well, and the ladybirds are already out and about. The monkey puzzle here is still full of ladybirds. They've overwintered in there, and everywhere I look I can see ladybirds. So now that is biodiversity at its best. A tree that's from halfway around the world, well, all the way around the world, which can be of use in the British garden. The little tiny polyanthus here are beginning to come out in flower now. That's looking good. Everything is beginning to come out into bud. The acers are beginning to, I don't know if you can see it that well, but they're beginning to burst their buds. Loads more hyacinths to come out yet. I love the smell of hyacinths. And the rose here is absolutely looking gorgeous. It's red spring foliage, and then it will have beautiful red flowers through the summer. Still got a few daffodils out. That's a cutting I took last year, and I put it in here so that we get a rose in this part of the garden, and that rose is part of this big red rose, which is now nearly 6 foot high. So yeah, beautiful. And daffodils at their finest on a sunny day in the spring. Roses are shooting everywhere. feeders are still going for the birds. Mustn't forget to feed the birds. If I forget to put the food out when it's not there, they sit and wait. And the broad beans are doing great. I think the broad beans I put in younger than the ones at the back are doing even better. These are lilies. There's a couple more over there as well. So they normally come up big and bold. But yeah, see, these broad beans were a second sowing and they went in much smaller. This is the first sowing and I held on to them before I put them out, and they're not doing bad, but there's a few sort of leggy ones, and I think the voles mostly had a couple of them. There's a couple of gaps in there, so I think the voles had them. But all in all, they've left them alone quite well. A little pond butt I've got here, water butt, which is the garden pond. Birds get on that log and drink and have a bath. So I think it's all doing well. And the olives there are okay. Greenhouse from here is looking good. And the olive there is doing well. So let's go into the greenhouse. Look at these here. They're at the base of the olive, and they are absolutely delightful. Gorgeous is the word. I can't think of any other word to describe them. I must get a load more, because crocuses do well in this garden. Just having a good look around. We're under the flight path, I don't know if you can see it, of the helicopter training, either from Shawbury or from down along the A5 heading into Shrewsbury. There's another training base there. So let's have a look at the greenhouse. Right, well, as you can see, I put things in when I did the clean it and sort it out, just to get them in out of the way. The radishes are looking really good. The Missouma lettuce is okay. That won't be that much longer before I can start cutting it. Take the tops off of these. Those seedlings are looking all okay. Parsley, French lavender and thyme. There's a couple of tomatoes there which I've just taken a chance and left out into here, but they should be okay. The dill and the coriander. Right, let's have a look at the second one. There we go. Some more parsley there. The cosmos and the anthuriums are starting to get a bit of a spurt on now, so let's open this back one up. Put that out there, and in here we've got 60-day broccoli, lab 60-day, and coriander. And then I'll just open this up. I'm in this little greenhouse within the greenhouse. The temperature is now 81, which is about 24, 25 centigrade, 81 Fahrenheit. So let's carefully take this off without losing all the labels. And in there, put the top down, is the 2 tomatoes which I grew from a tomato, and the rest are cucumbers and tomatoes. So all looking good. That's the melon seeds. They're the seedlings from the melons. So I'll be interested to see what happens with them. And up the top, I'll take the top off of that one, is all the seeds which I sowed week before last, I think. So that's the cabbage kiloton, the cabbage all year round, the cauliflower all year round, and there's a couple of sunflowers starting to come up. They're looking good. And, that's the tomatoes I've taken a trial with by putting them straight into the hanging baskets, here tumblers. So they're not looking bad. And there's a canna. That's the only canna that has survived the winter, and that's starting to sprout already. So not bad. And the temperature in here now is 27.5. It's reached the height of 29.9 and a low of 14.8. I did set it this morning and it started off at 14.8, but it's peaked up at 29.9, and now I've got the door open going down to 27.0 now, and that's centigrade. So it did go down to minus 1.4 overnight, but it's all looking good. And the last couple of things to show you in the greenhouse. I've been here, got the tops off, and this is the cow, the red ruble, which is a cutting cow. Let it get to a certain height and then, just like sprouting seeds, trim it off and let it get high enough to regrow. What I'll do is pick leaves, so it lasts a lot longer. And then here is the little gem lettuce, which I'll prick some of those out and put it into the garden. By the time they're ready, it'll be fine to go out in the garden. Hey Bo, he has been on his tour with me. The garlic chives are looking good. The thyme is always looking good. I've got no rosemary there. Another sage there. The strawberries are looking good. In here is the older strawberries. I'll give them another year and then I'll take them out and dispose them and compost them and get some new ones. These were all some of last year's offshoots, so this would be their first year of flowering. And the peas. This is the old aluminium guttering, and as you can see, the peas are looking pretty good. I'll let them just tumble over the side and I'll pick them from there. I'll feed them on a regular basis once a week with liquid tomato feed, and we'll go from there. The first of the parsnips are starting to sprout in these containers. I've got one container, the smaller container, which normally sits there. I've got that in the greenhouse, and that's got the same as this one here, which is carrot and spring onions, and that's now beginning to sprout up nicely. So it's getting there. This area seems to be a bit patchy, but I can just see, I don't think you'll be able to see it with the camera, and just see that it's beginning to break surface in a few places. So That's okay. I'm going to sow another lot of carrots later on. This is the 2 by 5 foot 10 square feet bed which I'm about to start sowing in. So I'll come back in a moment and you can follow me doing it. Right, well this is the 10 square foot garden bed which I'm going to start the challenge on. So I'm just going to start and get it all marked out. Now you may have noticed that the bed is not quite 5 foot long, but it's just over 2 foot wide. So when the maths are done, it works out at 10 square feet. So that's it laid out. So now what I'm going to do is find the seeds. So in the first half of this 10 square foot bed, I'm going to grow some American cress, spring onions, let's have a look. Let me see what else I've got here. Bolt hardy beetroot, some carrot, flyaway, and perpetual spinach. Let's go see how we go. You may have seen I've oversowed, but in the first section, let me take you over there you can see. So in this section I've got perpetual spinach. In this one, bulk hard-tree beetroot. Now I've sown it 2 seeds in each planting section. This I've sown a packet of spring onions in, and in this one I've sown cress. Now I've oversown because it's the old adage, you know, one, you know, to grow, one for the pests, you know, the slugs and the snails, one for the birds, one to die. It's trying to grow as many quick veg as possible, because then you can succession sow. But I've got leeks. I've been trying to figure out where to put leeks. I'm going to put them in here. Now, part of the challenge is you have to sow direct into the ground. So I'm going to sow in one section leeks direct into the ground. So let's just aim you up so you can see, and I'm going to go over there and sow some leeks. So that's the leeks, musselburgh sown. Yes, I've oversown again because I'll then thin them out, and the thinnings, if I get any, will go elsewhere. So that's what I'm going to sow. That's what I'm going to sow today in that bed. I need to sort out the lettuce and such, but I can't find my pack with all the marked seeds in. So it must be around somewhere. So when I find it, I can then come back out and sow some more. Beautiful day. Right, I've got a scaffolding board on that side already. I've put another scaffolding board on this side to hold up the containers for the parsnips, the carrots. So I'm going to get those put up. Right, well that's then put up there, and then I'll fill in the gap in between with some more containers. Right, so in the last bed at the front, I'm going to grow radish, sweet beauty. Right, so I'll label them up. That's radish pink beauty in there as well now. And that's the front of the bed done. So I've got what, 1, 2, 3, I've got 4 more. Yeah, about 4 more sections to go. So I'll catch you in a moment. Right, so they're all watered. They're covered over with trimble roofing sheets. And the leak at the back there is covered over with glass. So we'll leave them now and wait for them to germinate and go from there. So it's moving on, it's moving on. Right, these planters here are not part of the 10 square foot garden challenge, only this bed here. These aren't. Now, as you know, that's got parsnips coming through, that one's got carrots and spring onions. These two, these are washing up bowls. Yeah, they're deep enough for lettuce, spring onions, the round radish, American cress, watercress even. So even washing up bowls can be used. Drill the holes in the bottom, make sure they've got enough holes, and make sure you put a good soil into them. I use John Innes number 3 because it's I know it's fortified enough to get them all going, keep them going. Then as I change the crops in them, I'll top them up, but also add bloodfish and bone meal. I'm hoping the sun's not too bright. In the UK we have a thing called free cycle, a bit like Facebook, but everything is free. And I used to, when I had the allotment, used to look out for trampoline frames, no matter what size, and I'd go and collect them, and then I'd make them into frames to go over my beds, netted frames where I could walk into. So most of my beds had nets over them with frames made out of trampolines. The last trampoline I collected was a 12 foot, very heavy 12 foot. Took ages and ages to get apart because it was rusted together. And in one part had to be pulled apart by a tractor from the local farmer who was the person giving it away. He was in such a rush to get rid of it that he said, no, you know, I don't need that bit, I'll put it apart with the tractor, and that's what he did. So it's been laying around for now ages. So I thought, right, more building space. So what I've done is get into a position where you can see a bit better. I've made a frame where, using the metal from the trampoline, the top and bottom rails are part of a circle, and then they're the down bars that holds the nets, stop people falling off. And I've must be put some flowers in there, but in those 3, and then there'll be 3 along there, 3 bit more tall ones along there. I'll have tumbling tomatoes. Now, I was going to paint it green, but I've just found out that I must have used all my green paints elsewhere because I can't find it. So I'm going to have to buy some more Amorite green paint to paint it with, unless I change the colour. First honeybees. Isn't that a beautiful sight? And look at the pollen on his legs. We do have a honey farm, not that far away as the crow flies straight over. and that must be where he comes from. Let's have honeybees. There's not just one, there are quite a few flying around today. Marvellous. Well, that's another couple of containers. That one took about 25 litres. This one will take about 75 litres. But I'm starting off as I intend. In all the containers I'm using John Innes number 3, which is the Growmore one. Let's get the... There we go. Growmore special formulated John Innes number 3. For repotting and planting, rich in nutrients for greener foliage and more beautiful flowers. Successful feeding and growth mix. So it's takes a lot, but if you start off well this year, remember I'm only starting it from this year, so I've had no compost homemade. The compost maker over there, the tumbler, isn't great. It only makes a small amount, and at some point you have to stop feeding it. And what came out of there went around the rhubarb, and there wasn't much. I suppose about 25 litres came out of both of them. Yet both of those were filled up on several occasions, but like everything, you have to stop feeding it. It's not an economic in sense of how long it takes to the compost. It takes a long time. It doesn't heat up, it doesn't have worms, it doesn't have the microorganisms. It works purely on whatever can get in there by itself. Now this year, because I've emptied it, I'm starting off anew, and I've actually added some brambling and tiger worms into it, and a bit of the John Innes number 3. Will it make a difference? Let's wait and see on that one, and I'll tell you in, I suppose, 6 months time. I'll fill one side up and then I'll start the other side, and while the other side is being filled up, the side that I've finished should be rotting down. But according to the instructions, by the time you finish filling the second side up, the first side should be ready. Now it didn't happen last year, so I bought it last spring. Is it going to happen this year? Wait and find out. I'll be interested to find out. I expect you will too. Yeah, so all this compost, as I say, isn't cheap. It costs quite a bit to get it going. Your first year is I always think the most expensive. It was the same with the allotment. That first year, getting it up and running, getting raised beds sorted out, it was expensive in manpower hours, in energy, and also it's not cheap in money. You know, to get a shed, if you haven't got a shed, a polytunnel or a greenhouse, yes, you can source greenhouses for free, but even that is a lot of hard work. Like the one here was a lot of hard work, and then you've got everything else to go with it: tools, potting, seed sowing, and the list can be endless. But that first year is the most expensive. After this year, by the end of the spring, I should be fully up and running. I should not have to buy any more compost, any more John Innes number 3. That's the idea. As these containers, the crops in these containers go over, and I've harvested them, then, as I've said, I'll give them a good feed of fish blood and bone meal. That's on top of any tomato, liquid tomato feed I give the crops when they're growing. And if I need to top them up, I'll top them up with a bit more compost. I'll stick to the John Innes number 3 because I know that it's a good compost, and it's perfect for me to grow in. I've used so many different ones over the years and they've all failed or been no good. they've been okay for a few months, and then they have lost everything in them, all the nutrients gone, and the crops don't do well or they fail. So I'll get on now and do some more. I've just done some remulching with the Alto chicken bedding, and that not only stops the weeds, but it also keeps the moisture in, protects the soil, and as it rots down it will feed as well. I've not only used it on the bananas, the rosemary, but also on the hanging basket strawberries I've got already planted up. Also on the sage, and in the bottom of these containers, what I normally do, the bottom couple of inches, I normally mix 2 or 3 handfuls in with the soil. Then as it rots down and the roots from what you're growing on top gradually reach it, it adds to the food, and also all this mulching, as it rots down, it adds to the soil. It's free soil. I'm just going to have a go at these strawberries now. Well, I've just come in, it's 20 past 5. Still quite sunny. It did try and rain about 20 minutes ago, but it was only very light stuff. But the sun is still shining. There is some rain cloud over in the far distance I can see. Birds are still feeding, they're still singing. They've been singing all day. So yeah, it's not the dawn chorus, it's the spring mating call. They're all singing for their mates. Nesting will be underway. In fact, some nesting here has already started. I've already got a robin nesting, blackbird, some blue tits, wood pigeons, all using the 2 ivy-clad silver birches, old silver birches. So can't be bad, can it? Spring has arrived, so the birds say. So let's hope it stays that way. Well, I'm going to finish here now, and wish you all well, keep safe. Don't forget, please like, subscribe, share, comment. Please do comment. Comments mean a great thing. I do answer all the comments, and let me know what you'd like to see. Give me some idea. There's other things coming this week. I say there's a surprise hopefully coming this week, as long as I don't get let down on the main part of the surprise. If I do get let down, then I'll keep looking and I'll still have a surprise later on for you. But all being well, there should be a surprise this week. There's going to be another couple of videos. One is going to be a little bit somber, but otherwise they're going to be related to gardens and such. So keep safe, keep well. Thank you for watching.